Hello and welcome back to another video. So this one's going to be a short one. It is one that I wanted to get out pretty soon. History was made at Pitt State University, and that was our first home game for the women's soccer team. Pittsburgh State has never had soccer in the past, and we added it this year with women's. And so far they are off to a 3-0 start on the season and got their first home game win yesterday by winning 1-0. So with that said, I'm going to be talking about the gear that I used, some things that I learned now that I'm covering some soccer, and show you some of my favorite images from the first game. So first off, we're going to talk about the gear that I used. I used my Canon R6 with the battery grip, and on that I had the 300 adapted to it. It's the Canon EF 300mm f2.8 using the EF to RF adapter to the R6, and I shot an electronic shutter for most of the day, and then towards the end of the game I transferred to mechanical shutter, and that is simply because I was running out of space on my memory card because I had to use a smaller memory card because I haven't gotten around to finishing the stuff that's on the bigger memory cards. So lack of planning on my side, but I was able to cover the game fully with no issues with the smaller memory cards by switching over to mechanical. And I say mechanical to save space because it's slightly slower than electronic. Since I am adapting, it's not the full 12 FPS. Now the second camera is my second Canon R6, and I started off the day with the 16mm. I knew I wanted to get some wide shots of the girls warming up, any huddle stuff, any group activities, and just get some dynamic wide shots. Also just kind of using it in case they do anything pre-game where there's just a bunch of them and the 300 be too tight, or the 70-200. And I knew the 24-70 as of recent has not felt wide enough in some instances, so I knew that I was going to run the 16 for a little bit, and then once the game started, instead of going with the 24-70, I figured the 70-200 would be the better choice. So once the game started, I went to the RF 70-200 f2.8 on the second body, and that is because I know I'm going to be standing back from the field a little bit with the 300 for most of the mid and across the field action. And then as they get closer to me or in a range where it's cutting off the ankles, where the 300 just isn't going to get it because it's too tight, I would go the 70-200 route, and that would allow me to zoom out to 70 until once they get too close to me, and then I'd still have that 200 if they start going away, and then I can just go back to the 300 once they get further away from me. And I found out that worked out very, very well, and that's probably how I will shoot most of the soccer games that we have at home this year, and if I get to go to any away games. So as of recent, I did pick up a new action camera to give you guys some POV shots while I'm shooting, and that is a new Insta360 camera, and I think it's the Insta360 One RS Twin. So it's a modular action camera that I can throw onto the hot shoe of my Canon. So I kind of run that for a few minutes at a time every time I move. So I have a new angle to show you where I'm standing, to give you an ultra wide. With this camera, it comes with a 4K lens that I can put on there. And then I also have the option to put it into 360 mode by taking the 4K lens off and putting the 360 lens module onto it. So hopefully in the future I can get some cool 360 footage while I'm shooting sports, maybe on a selfie stick attached to my shoulder somehow, or on some way of having it on me so while I'm walking around there's a 360 view. So there's something to look forward to if you like seeing the POV action stuff. So for photos, I was trying to keep my shutter speed at 0.002 of a shutter or faster. On the 300, it's a 2.8. I went to f4 for most of the shots just to give myself some extra room. We had plenty of light. It was an overcast day, but it wasn't a dark overcast day, so the light was very, very even. And then I shot around 400 ISO for most of the day, and then the same settings on the 70 to 200. And then obviously I threw them in Lightroom, did some editing, added some contrast, and did some cropping because there are moments where they could use a little bit of cropping. So I typically keep my shots loosely cropped because the school is going to use them for graphics. So if they can have a bunch of empty space to throw text on the photo and stuff, it works out better for them. So typically I give the school some loosely cropped photos that are still going to be great uptight captures, but also give them some workaround for web banners and stuff like that. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed these images that were popping up while I was talking. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. I'd appreciate it if you'd like to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.